Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's MISys Tips and Tricks video. In the past, we have talked about how to run an MRP system to determine our requirements, both for production and purchasing. And we've also covered the possibility of not running MRP and doing it on the other side, a little bit more static, using buyer's advice report for our purchasing. What if we wanted to use something in a middle term? Well, we have some reports that we can use. However, these require the purchase of the MRP module, even though we are not going to be using it to its full extent. So what we do is we go to the planning menu under material requirements planning, go to master production schedules, just as we would do if we were running MRP, create a brand new schedule, name it whatever we want, and enter some kind of description, possibly today's date, and then whatever we want. Then we decide the planning horizon, the time period that we want to plan for. Maybe we're looking to the next 3 months. And then we decide what the shortage basis is, whether it's zero, minimum, or reorder. And we can, for now, just keep it zero. But this allows us to include our shortage basis in there. And then we select all items, select a location. Then if we want to bring our sales orders, we click on that. In which case, if it is QuickBooks, it's going to ask you for a sales location. And this is it. We can then save and initialize our schedule. And once it connects to QuickBooks and draws the necessary data, I have intentionally left the sales inventory unchecked. Obviously, if you are carrying your finished good inventory on your accounting side, then you need to check that so you don't need to buy or rather manufacture unnecessarily when there is available inventory on hand. All right, so the planning is done and initialization has been completed. If we were using MRP, we would just proceed with setting up our options, looking at the summary and auditing. However, as we have said, what if we don't want to go that path because of reason A or B? Maybe it's too complicated for us. So we can close this, and under reports, under planning, we have purchasing advice and production advice. When we run this report, it asks us to select a schedule. We will select the schedule we just created and take a look at the results. And you'll notice that it is giving us due dates, order dates based on what it calculates, how long it's going to take us, and the requirement on those items. So this is our production report, production advice report, telling us what needs to be manufactured when. It's a simpler interface, yet it requires you to create the manufacturing orders manually based on here. So 975 and 150 of each of these finished good 1001. Let's do a little testing here. What happens if I go and create a manufacturing order for that item, finished good 1001 in that same location, and let's create a manufacturing order for 500 boxes and populate it from the bill of material. And let's just say the completion date is today. Obviously, it's going to tell me that I'm late for this order, but now that this is in the system, sorry, I also should release it. Once this order is released, let's go back to our report under planning, production advice, select our schedule again, and see what we get. It has not changed this. It does not recognize that there is going to be a manufacturing order producing this item before the due date of 7/19. It's just considering what was available when we created the master production schedule under the planning menu. So that is one area we need to be careful with. Anything that we create is going to be taking out from here. The required quantity will be fulfilled with the manufacturing orders that we manually create. Similar in purchasing advice, I go and select the schedule and I preview that. And there's obviously a lot of parameters involved here: existing POs, show, don't show, suppliers, item numbers, and include assembled items if we want. We can do that. But in this case, I don't seem to require anything. So it's going ahead and telling me, giving me a blank report. However, if I am to look at my manufacturing order that I just recently created, and if I look at my material tab, I'll see that the lines are highlighted yellow, telling me that I don't have enough material for these. So why is my purchasing advice report populating blank when I need items? That is because it is looking at the MPS schedule when it was created, where there was no need. So if I go and create a brand new MPS schedule, and let's call this MPS 002, upon the changes taking place, then what will happen? Let's keep the same parameters here, save it, initialize it, always enter the location. Once again, connecting to QuickBooks, so to draw that information, and always select your sales inventory here if you keep your inventory in QuickBooks. I'm not selecting it, so there will be enough demand in the system. So once this is created, I can close out of that, go back to my reports, planning. Now look at purchasing advice and use the second schedule I have created and see what I come up with. Here are the two PM 2001 and PM 2002, which are due to manufacturing order 1126 I've just created for 5,000 boxes of FG 1001. However, intermediary is not showing here. That is because I said do not include assembled items. If I include assembled items, will it show? No. Why? Because this item does not have a supplier and it's not shown as an item that I need to buy. It's rather an item that I need to manufacture. So if I go to production advice and select MPS2, what you'll notice is that this number has dropped down from 975 to 475 because it now sees that 500 box order released in the system, but now it has added an intermediary 1001, which is required to fulfill that manufacturing order 1126. All of these orders and manufacturing orders and purchase orders will have to be created manually. I hope this helps use MISys more effectively.